All right. Well, I'm really excited today to have a conversation with two professionals in the field about a real life story of a creative financial solution that may work for some folks, but really thought it would be interesting to walk through this client scenario so that we can understand various options. And the two guests that I've got here are Elias Papasavas with Second Act Financial and Jody Lyons with CareBrains, right, Jody?
Hmm.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
before we dive in, let's get to know the two of you and a little bit about your organizations, and then we'll talk about this client that y'all share. Elias, tell us a little bit about yourself and your organization.
Sure. Thank you, Steve. My name is Elias Papasavas. I'm the founder and CEO of Second Act Financial Services. We are a financial solutions company that provides bridge financing, home equity lines of credit, access to long-term care insurance claims assistance, veteran benefits claims assistance, and also life insurance sales. And we exist to really help families move into senior living now and have flexibility in time to sell their home or while they're waiting to liquidate securities or other assets. So we work with seniors that are moving into life plan communities, continuing care retirement communities, and many seniors and family members that are moving a loved one into a senior living community. And we're out of Alexandria, Virginia.
Great, I love it. And Jody, tell us a little bit about your background and organization.
Sure. I'm Jody Lyons, and I am the Chief Care Officer of CareBrains.com. And so we have a platform that helps people find the care they need throughout the country. And we also provide education and training, certified education for professionals and training for adult caregivers and family members, particularly taking care of people with dementia and other cognitive impairment.
I love it. All right, now let's dive into the client story here. And
Sure.
I recognize that some of the we're not going to be referring to the client by name. We want to keep some of this confidential. So, Jody,
Exactly.
I'll let you sort of weave this story and tell us a little bit about your client that utilized the services of Second Act Financial.
Absolutely. It's unfortunately all too common a story. So we got a call from an attorney who had a client, a long-standing client, and she said, Jody, something doesn't seem right. I don't know exactly what it is, but something just doesn't seem right. And I'm going to be talking to the daughters because it's my fiduciary responsibility to say something just doesn't seem right. I said, okay, let me know if you need me. And the whole family ended up on a conference call with me. And they said, well, it turns out that not only were mom and dad both diagnosed with dementia, they were at different stages, but they'd kept it from the family and not told anybody anything. So, what was one of the first clues? Missed mortgage payments
Ooh.
and financial mismanagement and things that's always a clue for us. It's called the instrumental activities of daily living. It's the stuff that helps you keep yourself running and alive. So, bills not paid, repairs not done on the house. And the kids went in together to go see mom and dad and had a really hard time when they realized exactly how bad mom and dad were.
Mhm.
And the immediate thing they realized was they had to call an ambulance for one of their parents and because of a fall. So totally unrelated to the cognitive impairment, they'd gone in and found that one of the parents fell. And then they went, "Uh-oh, the fall was the best part of the situation."
Oh no.
And so we then ended up with both parents in the hospital, neither parent able to go home safely. The kids were very involved and very loving, but the parents covered up.
Hmm.
So now you're in a situation where mom and dad are in the hospital. Hospital's going to discharge mom and dad. They cannot go home to the beautiful colonial house with 3 flights of stairs and the laundry in the basement. So what are you supposed to do about it? And again, because of the cognitive impairment, the finances weren't in such a state that they could just write a check for 2 different assisted livings at the same time. And so I called Elias and I said, hi, I need $65,000 immediately because they're going to be discharged from the hospital and they each need to pay their first month. And again, we were trying to keep the couple together, but for a while to stabilize them, they'd be in 2 separate facilities. So you need 2 separate first month rent, 2 separate down payments for community fee. And then when the kids went downstairs to see if they could find the suitcases, they found black mold.
Oh,
So that's when I did the SOS and called out Elias and I said, help me, we got to do something.
so before we get into the details of Elias and the services that he offers, so the scenario here was everything was hidden from the family. So
Yes.
and there wasn't enough time to do the forensics to figure out where the bank accounts were, and because mom and
Right.
dad are also, if they didn't get their estate planning documents together, they might not, the kids might not even have financial power of attorney if they could find the documents. So you all need
Exactly.
some cash quickly to get to the point where you can now figure out where the accounts are, get the home ready for sale to draw on that to help pay for their care. Also, out of curiosity, you had said 2 different assisted livings. I'm curious why they weren't in the same one.
That is a great question. We wanted to place them in the same one, but the reality is that most of the better facilities are full. And so we needed a memory care unit bed and an assisted living bed. And because of some situations with the family dynamics, they couldn't share their own apartment.
Uh,
And we were lucky. We had a lawyer who could hand us the powers of attorney, but she had not had a chance to do all the forensics to find out where the bank accounts were, where the investments. It's the story where mom and dad put everything in a shoebox, but then you can't find the shoebox.
okay, great.
Yeah.
Well,
So
this
we had to place them in 2 simply for availability of beds.
wow, what a fascinating story. So now let's jump over to Elias and talk about when you receive a call from Jody and or her families in a situation like this, what happens, and what are you doing to help these folks with your service?
Yeah, Steve, and Second Act Financial Services, as I shared, offers a variety of financial solutions to help seniors and families immediately make the move. In this case, when Jody called us, her clients and the attorney helping her clients needed a home equity line of credit to take available cash out of the home and immediately cover the cost of care and the community fees. And our home equity and our lending is done through our Second Act division. Our Second Act division is out of Ohio. We are a division of a federal savings bank out of Wilmington, Ohio, Liberty Savings Bank. And we've been in business. Our parent bank has been in business since 1889. So we've been around for a long time. And Second Act is the senior focused division of Liberty Savings Bank. And I share that because when a care manager, a brain health expert, an Alzheimer's expert, or a family member or a senior gives us a call, our motto is retirement banking understood. We like to tell families we understand when you call us. You don't have to explain. You could immediately jump into what is going on, and we can immediately jump into providing a solution that can help you. Jody's clients needed liquidity. They had a beautiful home. They had securities. They had net worth. It just wasn't immediately available to the tune of $65,000 to cover the move-in costs. Never mind the movers, and as Jody mentioned, the mold that was discovered that needed to be repaired. So we provided a home equity line of credit, specially structured and specially quickly made available for these senior living situations. This one had to go very, very quickly. We have folks that move into life plan communities that don't have the crisis behind them, but it got done in less than a week. And I think what we appreciate is being known in the care expert and memory care expert community as a resource that can immediately help.
Yeah, I can imagine folks that may sort of have thought about this on their own, and it's like, oh, well, we could do a home equity in calling a traditional mortgage. Who would you call as a mortgage banker? And I've never seen a home equity line of credit been done in less than 90 days. I think it's not something that happens
Exactly.
quickly. So this is really cool. And I think when we started, you talked about other sources of income that you can assist folks with, but I think it's important because we were talking about the home and we're talking about getting money, that this has nothing to do with like a reverse mortgage. That is a different product entirely with a completely different need, because the individual is going to stay living in that home. Correct?
Yeah, that's a great point, and thank you for pointing this out. A home equity line of credit, it's just that. It's a line of credit that you can take, and your home is the collateral. Typically, a home equity line of credit for senior living acts as a bridge loan to help you fund move in now and have the breathing room to figure out what do we need to do with the house before we list it. And, admittedly in 2020, 2021, during the pandemic, homes were selling in minutes. You could list your home. I think Jody told me she had a friend, she listed her home at 6 a.m. and the home had 10 offers by noon.
Yep.
Now with 7.5% mortgage rates, you need to stage your home. You need to make sure your home is clean, and it needs as little work as possible to get the best price. So it's really about the benefit, and what is the benefit? Breathing room, financial flexibility, small, easy payments instead of tens of thousands of dollars in payments. To cover the cost of care, we'll send the $65,000 over to the communities, and you have a $200 payment that you need to make to cover the cost of care. So we're very proud to be known by the Jodys of the world and the health experts of the world, helping independent seniors decide which life plan and CCRC communities to move into. I know we've helped Jody with other situations that are independent living situations, but we're known by the caregiving community as well because of our motto, retirement banking understood.
I love it. What an innovative platform there. And now let me jump back to Jody, and so you get the husband and wife into the two communities, you get the financing. Can you kind of tie up what happened with this couple and the rest of the story?
Sure, that's a great question. So we got both of them safe, which is the biggest thing, right? They were out of the hospital, they were safe, they are settled in their communities, they have furniture, they have clothing, all of that. And then the family was able to clean the mold in the house, stage the house. And I'm sure all of our listeners can relate to this, and clean out 30 years of boxes of stuff from the closet. Elias, to your point, you can't open the closet and have the kids' high school footballs fall out. So they took the time that this afforded them to clean out the house and get the things that meant something to them, and, hire people to move out the rest of the junk and stage the house and paint it. They sold the house, they made plenty of money, and then they paid back the loan immediately. This was a short-term solution to deal with an immediate crisis. But again, it also meant that the families weren't under the pressure to clean the house immediately. They could make sure mom and dad were settled first and then clean out the house, as opposed to trying to put the house on the market, stage it, have showings, and still run back and forth to two different places for mom and dad. It's hard
Yeah.
enough with one place.
And so many times, like, even if the adult children have the ability to put up the funds for mom and dad to go to a place like this, it's or get through a process like this, they shouldn't. Like, I mean, and I talk to
Right.
people on a regular basis. This is like, this is mom and dad, and they've got
Mhm.
the wherewithal, and maybe they didn't plan. And then this scenario is an example of a scenario where folks didn't necessarily plan and they were hiding things. But it's sort of for a child to now have to go in and sort of liquidate their assets to do this. This is a great solution where we're basically utilizing the assets that mom and dad have, creating a safe environment, and being able to move to the next chapter.
Absolutely.
Steve, you raise an interesting point. I was in Dallas, Texas last week at a life plan community that is opening up in December, and this opening is, typically in CCRCs you have very independent, very active folks over 65 that are moving in. And a woman came up to me and said, I'm moving in February, but I've been thinking about this home equity line and a bridge loan because I can't stand the thought of people coming in and out of my house while I'm living in it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And she said the last time she sold her house, she lived in it, and she would have to leave when agents would bring prospective buyers
Yeah.
in. She said it was really unnerving. And I said, well, what was unnerving about it? She said, well, when I got back home, I could tell people moved my stuff.
Yeah. It's
Hmm.
yeah, I in that regard, it's sort of, this is a great solution for everybody, because that is a horrible process of having your home available for the tours. But I can especially see if somebody is at a stage in life where I don't need to go through this anymore, and the bridge loan option
Right.
is an excellent option. This has been great. And Jody, before we started talking, this is not the only time that you've utilized Second Act Financial for your clients. That this is something that you've done multiple times.
Multiple times. And I'm very pleased that Elias answers the phone when I call, because I'm usually calling saying, hi, I need help. And well, I needed it yesterday. There are so many scenarios where even if the person is planning in advance, there's something that comes up. Um, when realtors say, oh, if you redid the bathroom, you get X amount of money for the house. Well, where are you getting the money to redo the bathroom?
Yeah.
Or if you have somebody in the house who's older and sicker, I mean, to be very, very blunt, it is hard to sell a house with a commode in the middle of the living room.
Exactly.
And so when people are planning, they need this as a safety net. And when it's a crisis, they very much need this as a safety net. And to your earlier point, Steve, sometimes people don't have 90 days to have this happen.
Well, and this is, I've really learned a lot here, even though I was familiar with Second Act Financial, hearing this, the first hand perspective on how it can be
Mhm.
utilized, it's really opened up a few key things. Is number one, this is just another option that I think a lot of people are not aware of, because
They're not.
this care manager that's done it once, it's sort of like, wow, this is a great thing in my Swiss Army knife to help families in certain situations. But the other thing is, the reason why nobody's doing this is that traditionally a bridge loan is, you go to the, Chase or one of these huge
Mhm.
institutions, or the guy that is, or gal that's selling mortgages. They you would have to spend hours talking about how the scenario that you're in, and this is what I want to use this money for.
Mhm.
Whereas when you call Second Act, they know exactly what you're talking about. You can just, okay, how much do you need, as opposed to telling us the story, especially if they've already connected with a care manager. And if they haven't connected with your care manager, the team at Second Act is going to help them do that.
We absolutely connect families to professionals when they call us to create a plan and to really understand what they should do going forward, and have a plan going forward. I'll end with two stories. We had a woman in Florida, when we called her to let her know her mom was approved and we're ready to fund in a continuing care retirement community, and wire the entry fee to the continuing care retirement community. She said, "Oh my God,
Mhm.
I'm in tears. I'm so happy. I'm going to go tell the dog and I'm going to dance on my porch," because it just took the stress off. And then we had another gentleman, widowed. He was widowed and moving into a community on his own accord. We did the home equity line, and a few months later, our lending chaperone got a phone call from him, and we thought, okay, he's calling to pay off the line. Um, he wasn't calling to pay off the line. He called our lending chaperone to say, "I'm in my new condo in the retirement community, and I miss talking with you. So I wanted to call and say hello."
It's great.
How many bankers do you do that with?
I love it. This is fantastic. This has really opened my eyes up, and I think opened other people's eyes up to another creative option that can take some stress off and help with the transition. I want to thank both of you for spending time with me today and helping me understand it.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Steve.
Steve.